Hello and welcome to What Should Happen Next, the show where I break down what just happened and talk about what should happen next if we want to have satisfying long-term storytelling that makes sense. Today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the new Mortal Kombat movie. If you haven't seen the new Mortal Kombat movie, you should stop listening now because I'm about to go into pretty good detail about the character, the plot, and where I think they're going in the sequel. Alright, now that I got rid of the noobs and people that don't really care about Mortal Kombat, let's get into it. I thought that this movie was awesome. I thought that the action sequences were great. I think that they took a lot of the notes and criticisms that people had for the original Mortal Kombat movies and found ways to really fix them and make it an enjoyable experience that I felt like it was a little less than 2 hours, but it felt like it just flew by so quickly. So let's break down some of the characters, how they were treated, and where I think they might be going. First off, the movie started with Hanzo and Sub-Zero, Scorpion and Sub-Zero. I thought that the way that they handled him was awesome. It was heartbreaking. The first time I saw that first 7 minutes, it made me cry. I'm a father of 2 lovely girls. One of them's a baby. And to see him protecting his family, to see the loss of his family, and then to see him crawling to get to his baby as he's giving out his last breath, it was truly heartbreaking. And I thought it really set the stage for things and how far the Outworld side of things are willing to go to cheat and win. I think that it would have been cool to see a little bit more of the middle, what happened between his death and him coming back as this spirit that's tamed the Hellfire. But overall, I thought that the actor did a great job. I thought his fight sequences were really, really cool. And honestly, my biggest criticism with Scorpion is that I'm afraid that it was so cool, but I'm afraid we're not going to get that actor as that character again in a sequel because of how he says that he seems to be freed and finally at rest. Maybe that means we'll see him come back for some other reason. Maybe we'll see someone try to control or reclaim his spirit. Or maybe we might even get to see Cole continue to evolve in his powers and one day become this generation's new Scorpion. So we'll see about that. One character that I saw a lot of people criticizing online was Liu Kang. I thought that they handled Liu Kang very well in this. In the original 1995 movie, Liu Kang had walked away from the Shaolin Order, and yet he had still somehow retained all of his fighting abilities and been in great shape and just walked into the tournament and won the tournament out of nowhere, right? He goes home, he sees the monks say go to the tournament, he goes to the tournament and he does not lose a single fight, right? In this, we saw someone who, Liu Kang had been raised on the streets as an orphan. He hadn't been someone that had been raised by the warmth of the temple and turned his back on the warmth. He was someone who had to struggle and was saved by his master, Borai Cho. And after years of training, he earned his way into Mortal Kombat, right? That's one of the things that I thought was cool about this also was the introduction of the dragon symbol as a method of choosing the combatants for it. And the fact that if you have the invitation, but someone beats you, someone kills you, then you no longer have the invitation, they've earned it. So I found that to be a very interesting addition to it. And I loved the fact that Liu Kang earned his symbol by finding someone who was involved in child trafficking and ending it, right? He didn't just like luck out in some street fight or something. He didn't fight someone who was worthy. He fought someone who had it, and thanks to fate, it ended up in the right hands, right? It was waiting for him to come and claim his right as a combatant in Mortal Kombat. And as soon as he got the symbol, his powers manifested, right? We saw with these other people, them struggle to get their powers. The fact that he just had his power as soon as he got the symbol shows you, right, that he is a next level talent. And I think that they did a really good job of positioning him as someone who still could be the one that defeats Shang Tsung in the next movie and still could be the hero of the Ultimate franchise and everything. But instead of following him, we follow this guy who's just being introduced to the world. And we can discover more about Liu Kang and his fate and his possibilities as we go, as opposed to feeling immediately attached to it. I think that also adds a little bit of flexibility in the stakes, because if Liu Kang is our hero, then it's safe to assume that he survives the entire movie and survives into the next movie. With Cole as our medium for this franchise, we're not sure who's going to make it, right? In this movie, we saw Kano die, we saw Melina die, we saw Kung Lao die, right? We saw so many characters that aren't even in Mortal Kombat 1 die before the tournament. Reptile, dead, right? So because of these rules that we are now open to as an audience, we could go to the tournament and Liu Kang could die. Or we could get past the tournament and then Liu Kang could be killed after the tournament, right? So by not attaching the movie to any of the standard main characters, it allows us the possibility that any of them could succeed or fail, which I think is so powerful in terms of storytelling. Another thing about Liu Kang, for why he was so good, the Fire Dragon looked incredible. His control over his arcana is next level. And can we also take a minute to appreciate the fact that he sat there eating his egg rolls and did not even look up to tell Kano, you should be on your knees thanking this man. He is here to save your life. You are nothing. He was punking him out so easily and with such coolness that I absolutely loved it. Another fun fact I learned recently was that the actors that played Liu Kang and Kung Lao are actually long-term friends and have worked together several times, and years ago had said that they wanted to do this together. And when they got it, they flipped out. So that's awesome to me. So let's use that to transition to Kung Lao for a second. I thought Kung Lao was in the movie the perfect amount. He got his fatality in, he did some cool moves, he helped lead and inspire them, and then he died in a way that unified them and showed the strength of a greater enemy for the next sequel, right? The fact that everyone else had these great back and forth fights, and then Shang Tsung just walks in, grabs you, and steals your soul, shows you that this guy is a threat that we are not even on the same level or ready to even consider yet, right? His death was also much more powerful, in my opinion, than Liu Kang's brother's death in 1995, because in the original movie, the brother died at the very beginning. So we start the movie accepting the fact that the brother is dead and that we're dealing with that. Meanwhile, in this one, we meet Kung Lao, we're inspired by him, we bond with him and everything, and we see how much he means to his cousin, and then we see him ripped directly from us. And yet again, this is before Mortal Kombat 2 would have taken place. So it's something that surprises us and is kind of a jolt to our system, and something that tells the audience, though this is based off of Mortal Kombat, this is not necessarily going to be the same story that you've been told. Just because someone's in Mortal Kombat 3 in the game does not mean that they're going to survive the first movie. So I thought that that was really cool and really useful and really helped kind of frame the stakes of the whole thing. Another pairing that I thought was really interesting was Jax and Sonya. I thought Jax nailed it in this movie. It was really fun seeing him kind of have to rebuild himself from the ground up. We're used to often seeing him as this very strong, very confident and bold person, but to see him get completely devastated by Sub-Zero in that fight, and then to have to kind of go through the process of learning his prosthetic limbs and rebuilding his strength and all of these things, it was very humanizing for the character. I'm very, very curious to hear about the perspectives of people with prosthetic limbs and how they felt about his portrayal of it in this. I teach computer science, and I talk about robotic prosthetic limbs every year, and it's such a powerful developing technology. And I thought that the fact that they showed the fact that while learning your prosthetics, there's going to be struggle, there's going to be a learning curve and frustration, but eventually it can feel like an extension of you. I thought that that was such a beautiful thing. And I thought Sonya, they nailed her. I thought that the original one was a bit of a stereotype in terms of the shrill woman that's softened by the affection of the hunky man. In this one, I felt like she was a strong, independent character who motivated other people to get to their destiny, and who was willing to sacrifice everything even if she wasn't one of the chosen ones. I thought that the fight where she beat Kano and then she didn't claim his life and didn't take the symbol from him spoke a lot. And then when she was able to beat him again after he had gotten his powers, I thought that that was a really cool arc for her. And it made it so that we were all happy for her to finally get that symbol, right? A lot of these other people we saw already had the symbol or kind of chanced into it, but she's someone who believed and had faith, and her faith was rewarded by fate. So yet again, going back to the idea of Liu Kang taking the symbol from someone who was unworthy, if you want to consider the fate of the Mortal Kombat universe and like predetermination of things and everything, maybe Kano was meant to have the symbol so that Sonya could get it, and so that Sonya could be the warrior that she needed to be and get to the point she needed to be at. So I think that there's a beauty to that in the storytelling. I thought that she also was pretty funny. She tricked Kano and had some good lines. I think it'll be interesting to see how she clashes with Johnny Cage in the next movie, but we'll get into that in just a little. In terms of the bad guys, I thought that Sub-Zero was awesome. I think that they did a great job of taking a character that is one of the most loved characters in all of video games and making it so that we were all disgusted by him, afraid of him, intimidated by him. They added so much, and there was, yet again, beauty to visually how they did it, right? The scene where he's walking down the streets and you see the snow and everyone's like, wow, what is this beautiful thing? And then all of a sudden he crashes it all down on them. That was such a cool visual. His fight against Jax was amazing. His original fight, his fight at the end. I think that they just really did a great job of portraying the character in multiple iterations with multiple strength levels and just really kind of following through on the powers in ways that we've seen in the games, but also in natural extensions and evolutions that would make sense beyond a one-on-one fight. So I think that they did a really great job of having him be the big bad guy of this movie, and kind of keeping Shang Tsung in the back, almost like a Thanos, even though the real Thanos will be Shao Kahn or Shinnok. But that's a beautiful thing about Mortal Kombat, is that it keeps going to that next level. Who's the next big guy? And there's always a bigger guy. I thought that it made sense to frame this around Hanzo and Sub-Zero. And while Shang Tsung was probably to blame for Sub-Zero killing Hanzo and massacring his family and everything, we saw Sub-Zero do it. So as an audience, we want to see justice on Sub-Zero, right? If we'd seen a sequence of Shang Tsung ordering the massacre of Scorpion's family, then we would have felt more of an immediate need to see justice on Shang Tsung. And even now we really are starting to feel the need because we saw him kill Kung Lao. So it's one thing to tell us someone's a bad guy, but if you want someone to really be a bad guy, you need to show us them doing things over time. I thought Kano was a star of the movie. I thought that every time he spoke, it was gold. I thought the actor did a great job. I thought that it always left you wanting more. He said the most, but always said enough that you would want to find out more. What happened to the Black Dragon? Why is he where he is? Why is he on his own? What does he do? He even had a great line about how I'm wanted in all of these countries for things that you couldn't even imagine. And that's an amazing line, because in one hand, that paints him as this threatening, intimidating, cool guy and makes you think about what he did. But on the other hand, it's not being specific in a way that would push anyone away, right? If he had said, I'm wanted for massacring children, we'd hate him immediately. If he said, I was wanted for rape, we'd hate him immediately. If he said, I was wanted for genocide or hate crimes or any of these things, we would turn on the character immediately. So by just saying, I'm wanted for things you can't imagine, it makes him a big level bad guy and everything, but also keeps it vague enough that we can enjoy his character. Right? That was a criticism in Suicide Squad, was that there was a character who, in their rap sheet for what crimes they'd done beforehand, it had said rape, and everyone was like, okay, so I'm not going to be cheering for that character in this movie, definitely. So I think that they did an interesting way of keeping him light and menacing and evil, but also approachable in many ways. I thought Melina was awesome. I thought she was understated and creepy yet beautiful. I saw people criticizing her hair and how she had a lack of frizz control or didn't have fancy hair or this or that. I found that to be a little bit racist, to be honest with you. I think that natural hair is a beautiful thing, especially braided natural hair and the cool patterns that people do and everything is a beautiful thing. And this isn't a poster girl. This is a warrior. This is a crazy monster that will literally eat your face off. And you're like, her braids aren't tight enough? Come on. She was awesome. My biggest criticism of her is that she's dead and that I want more of her. Part of me is like, okay, hopefully that's not the end of her, right? Because she's a clone. So part of me is thinking maybe there's another Melina clone that we might be getting, Shang Tsung has waiting in the background. Or part of me is also being hopeful that maybe if she's supposed to be a clone of Katana, then maybe this will be the same actress that we get to see portray Katana. Which I think would be a really cool thing. I think that she got a lot of attention and proved herself in the fight sequences. And it'll be interesting to see a flip for that actress and now having to portray a hero. All right, Raiden, let's just get this out of the way. Raiden, in my opinion, was the weakest character in the whole movie. He doesn't even seem to be really trying to protect the Earth. Why is the world oblivious to the fact it's on the verge of annihilation? If we just lost 9 out of 10 tournaments and the 10th tournament means that we're about to get invaded by Outworld, why aren't you telling the military? Why aren't you talking to anyone? Why aren't you trying to, get the best fighters you can and, sacrifice weak ones for powerful ones or this or that? You're not trying to save the Earth. Your base is so hidden that the only person that knows how to get there had to get dropped off 35 kilometers away. Come on, bro. Do your freaking job. For real, Raiden. So disappointed, and you look like a bum. Clean up the look. All right. Let's talk about what should happen next, right? We had a lot of great characters that will be returning, definitely. I think that we will see an evolution in Cole as he continues to get his power. I think that we're going to see Sonya and Jack stepping up for the tournament and really trying to take things seriously, which will be a fun clash against Johnny Cage's character. In terms of Johnny Cage, a lot of people have been saying they want The Miz from WWE to do it. I love The Miz. I'm a huge Miz fan. I don't want The Miz to do it. I want someone that I know is going to nail split punches. And I've seen Miz fail to do a proper, kip up. So how's that guy going to do split punches and be someone that I see as a legit, martial artist? Because to me, that's a big part of it also, is that Johnny Cage isn't just a movie star. It's easy to get a movie star that wants to prove himself in fighting. Johnny Cage was a martial artist movie star that felt like he needed to prove himself because everyone's saying that his fights are fake. It's not that he's an actor trying to prove he's tough. It's that he's a fighter that has lost the respect for being a fighter. He was Jean-Claude Van Damme was the concept. Jean-Claude was a tournament fighter before he became an actor. And he was awesome. I want to see someone who's ripped. I want to see someone who can bust out moves that are flashy and obnoxious and make you go, come on, that's not even effective. But he's like, yeah, but I look cool doing it. I want someone that's going to make me be jealous of him and make me wish that I looked like him and that women looked at me the way they look at him. Johnny Cage needs to be next level. In terms of other people from Earth, the Lin Kuei, I thought that they... I want to know more about that, right? One of Sub-Zero's dying lines was for the Lin Kuei. Why? What have you been doing for the Lin Kuei lately? You've been with them for the last 400 years. What have they been up to? In some of the later games, we saw that the Lin Kuei participated in the tournament while still human and then became cybernetic after the tournament. So I would love to see Sector, Smoke, or Cyrax, and also even the next Sub-Zero coming and being involved in the tournament possibly. I think it would be also interesting to show a clash between Cole and the modern Lin Kuei because Cole's family had been massacred by the Lin Kuei. And are they now able to work together to save all of their families, right? Who are the Lin Kuei on the side of? Are they with Earthrealm or are they with Outworld? I think that they've got a lot of space to tell something really cool with that. I think that they should not just skip to having robots, though. I think that we need to see the transition to robot. Why did they become robot? Did they want to become robot? Do they all want to be robot, right? Don't just do what Annihilation did where suddenly we're having a fight scene with their robots. And yeah, you just are supposed to know what's going on. I don't like that. Another Earthrealm person I want to see, Bo Rai Cho. We heard about him in this one. My dream casting for this is Sammo Hung. He is a famous martial artist. He's done work with Jackie Chan for many, many years. He was also, here in America, he started in his own TV show, Martial Law. He was in an Ip Man movie recently and still had it. And he was, I believe he was the fight choreographer for Legend of the Drunken Boxer with Jackie Chan. So he's a larger man and a little older now, and I think he would absolutely nail the role of Bo Rai Cho. It would lend some serious credibility to the martial arts world, and he's one of the best fight choreographers of all time, so having him working on the movie, in terms of the comedy of action and just seriousness of action, he is priceless. He is a gem. So please, please, please get Sammo Hung. Now moving on to people from the other realms, Shao Kahn. We need to see him. We don't need to have him in most of the movie, but he needs to start being introduced into the cinematic universe of it. And it needs to be an actor that carries the intimidation and gravity of Thanos without the CGI. I need, The Mountain. I need, Brock Lesnar. I need, someone that is massive and serious and scary, but also someone I can take seriously. He should not be a cartoon. He should not be Reiko from this movie. Reiko from this movie was just, ah! What was his deal? I don't know. I know nothing because all of his lines were just, ah! So I need Shao Kahn to be someone that I kind of understand what's going on or why it's going on or what he wants. I think Baraka is someone we saw Tarkatans in the mural, but we haven't actually seen them in real life yet. So I think it would be great to see the Tarkatans, and I think it would be great to see Baraka mourning the loss of Melina and being upset. He wants revenge on Sonya for killing the woman that he was obsessed with. And also I want to see what's up with the Tarkatans. Why are they involved? Why are they with who they're with? Are they supposed to be, or are they being manipulated? I think that, obviously, I want to see Katana. I want to see her actually being torn. The Katana in the original movie was very obvious from the beginning that she has this fight and is immediately like, hey, I want to help you betray my father. Like, will it be that immediate, or will we see her be torn? Will we see her trying to fight on the behalf of Outworld until she realizes that the Earth people are able to help and save her? Right? Does she believe in the cause, or does she have to be shown the cause? So I'd love to see some of that. Yet again, talking about revenge, I'd love to see Kentaro. To cut the hands off of a Shokan is considered a great dishonor. So I want to see him seeking revenge on Cole for the loss of his cousin. In terms of Sindel, I do not want to see Sindel as a major character in this next movie. I think she should be mentioned or shown in a flashback sequence or something, or an end sequence, but she should mostly be out of the way for this. She should be presented as an idea more than an actual character. We should hear Katana talk about her mother and what happened, but we shouldn't see the return of Sindel yet until after the tournament. I'd love to see Jade. We could show her alongside with Katana, show more of that relationship, show the levels of their trust, show who's betraying her, or if they both trust each other, or if one trusts the other and the other does not, or if they're both just lying to each other constantly. Either way, that could be really cool. And her long-term relationship with Kotal Khan, I think, could also add a depth to expanding this. I think that one of the senses I got was that this tournament feels like it's not going to seem like it's just Earthrealm versus Outworld. I feel like we're going to get to see some of the other realms too. And the last person that I think needs to be addressed is Quan Chi. I think that Quan Chi, we saw a little tease with the Shinnok amulet, but I think Quan Chi is another character that we want to see kind of on the side. He should be maybe at the tournament and have some combatants and stuff, but we should see that the Mortal Kombat tournament is not his plan A. He's more there scouting and gaining information and things. And yeah, what's going on? Is Shinnok going to be an element in the time to come? Overall, I think the next movie definitely should be focused on the tournament. It'll be interesting to see how close to the typical canon they go in terms of who fights who wins. Is Liu Kang going to be the champion? Or is Cole going to be someone that we kind of see step up in a new way in this? But ultimately speaking, I think that this is going to be a great transition, kind of in introducing us to what's going to happen once the tournament no longer matters. People that are fans of the original games know that after they lost the tournament, Outworld said, well, screw it. Let's do this. And they resurrected Sindel in the Earth realm so that they could get her and merge the realms together. So kind of like in Jurassic World, right? We are seeing it set up in the context of this amusement park, but it's building towards what's going to happen when dinosaurs are just everywhere, and there's war with dinosaurs and all of this stuff. So I think that this next movie is going to be good and big in terms of introducing more characters and more elements of the cinematic universe for Mortal Kombat, but ultimately it's going to be a stepping stone to a greater conflict where now the rules are just going to get thrown out the window and we'll have war. So I loved the movie. I thought it was a blast. I highly recommend it for people, whether they were Mortal Kombat fans or not growing up. I think that it's a fun thing if you can just loosen up and allow yourself to play by their rules of their universe. So thank you for having a listen. We'll be having another episode soon. We're going to be covering Falcon and the Winter Soldier this season, and we're going to start having some regular episodes about AEW wrestling. So thanks for checking in, and I'll talk to you soon.